Thank you. The sound is okay, right? Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here. It's really a pleasure. It's my first time in Iceland ever, so I'm very excited about that. Interesting flight over here yesterday as well. But also I'm very pleased to be here because I really like this initiative between Iceland and Norway, and I think from my perspective we really have a lot of possibilities here for future common projects. And the title here is rather long here. I thought it would be nice to have a title that will, and you get an idea of what I actually am going to say. We can shorten it a bit and say geese and agriculture, Norway and Iceland. That's also a possibility. And I will present today some results of projects we have, and also have some reflections about the future possibilities between Norway and Iceland. And this will be presented by me, but there's a range of collaborating partners in these different projects. This is a picture from northern Norway, by the way. There are some barnacle geese down on the beach there. So this presentation will be slightly different. The topic here will be slightly different than what we heard yesterday. Our projects are mainly focusing on these two species. Is there a pointer here? Is there a pointer on this one? Anyone? Okay. But I can, of course, it's probably better if someone. Okay. So this is the pink-footed goose. We call them Arctic geese. They actually spend only the summer months, or the spring and early autumn, in Svalbard. But and the rest of the year they spend in Europe, in Norway, in Denmark, the Netherlands, UK. So this population here of pink-footed goose, they have very restricted distribution in wintertime, in Flandern area, in Belgium, in Friesland, and in the spring they gather here on the west coast of Denmark, in Jutland. That's also where we catch them, so we can put some individual letter codes on neckbands here, so we can follow them later. And then in Norway they have two main staging sites, in central Norway and in northern Norway, in Vesterålen. At this site they also are staging together with barnacle geese. Yeah, thank you. With barnacle geese. This population is also a very restricted winter distribution here in UK. The most traditional staging area is here, but in recent years they also have entered Vesterålen, and here go to Svalbard. And you probably recognize now that underneath the picture of the barnacle geese, there we have Iceland. And we have geese here as well. There is another population of pink-footed geese. They are spending their winter in the eastern parts of UK. They both are spending the spring here, where they feed on agricultural fields, but they also have breeding area all over Iceland. And some of the population also go over to Greenland, which is shown with this green arrow here. And we also have grey-leg geese, number of grey-leg geese all over Iceland. There's still some in Reykjavik yesterday, I saw them, so it's very nice welcome. And there are also different other species, both migrating through Iceland and also breeding here. So what's this thing about geese, you may ask? And I guess for all of us we have a range of different relations to geese, just from a part of the wildlife, goose steak for Christmas, foie gras, this French delicacy. So there were lots of different issues related to the geese. But as this is a handout from a film that was made in the Netherlands some years ago, you can see that the farmers, they have a rather special relationship to geese, because they are 100% vegetarian, and they are following this green agriculture development, and they are more and more conflicting with agriculture interests as they feed on cultivated fields. And since most of these European goose populations are increasing, the conflicts with agriculture is increasing too. So this is just an example. We can give you some idea. This is from Vesterålen in northern Norway, and this is a site where this is an area where there may be as many as 5,000 geese. This is a very similar field, but here we have a road, so the geese rarely use this area. So this is just after a few days, so the visual signs are quite striking. And these are from some exclosures we have. You can see here there's not much green outside these exclosures where the geese have been, they can't feed inside here. So there's been a long process in Norway. This is a picture from a local newspaper, Central Norway, some years ago, where the farmers, they claim that now enough is enough. So there's a lot of farmers now chasing the geese off the field and to protect the properties. So 2 projects we have going now: MIGRAPOP, an adaptive management of migratory populations, developing tools at the interface between ecology, economy, agriculture and society. Another project, Goose Hunt, sustainable goose hunting management by the use of an adaptive organization and crew management. And both these projects are funded by the Research Council of Norway, the Directorate for Nature Management, and from the county governors, both at the wildlife and agriculture and at the regional level as well. And also last year we got some funding from the Farm Center. So I won't read it, just give you an impression. It's an interdisciplinary project consortium here. Most of us are biologists, including modelers, but we have also social scientists like Einar Eitosson here, my colleague from Tromso, Siri Ulstein from another research institute in northern Norway, and we have a list of old university. We have PhD students and some modelers here. So there's a range of people involved here. And in these projects, we find it very convenient and actually necessary to have reference groups that are all relevant stakeholders for these conflicts. So members of these reference groups, they are represented by the Environmental Authority, the Agricultural Authority, Farmers Association, Ornithological Association, Hunters Association, and landowners. So in this, it's not a steering committee, it's a reference group. We use them for guidance. We present results and some future plans for the coming year, and we exchange information and experience. And we find this very, very useful for the kind of projects we have now. So we have this adaptive process with stakeholder involvement, and I just give a brief presentation of how we are working, because for us this is very useful, and I highly recommend that to other projects where we have conflicts involved. So we start with a hypothesis, so we have a plan that is locally presented for this reference group or for other involved stakeholders. And then we need to do some adjustments, and we usually say that we have some wild dreams of what we would like to do. We sit with the computer and we discuss, yeah, right, that would be nice to do. And then we have a kind of filter in many ways. So we come up with what is actually possible to do. So in this process, we got a kind of common understanding and acceptance of what we are doing. We have an involvement with the different stakeholders, which is very important. And then we implement the plans. We carry on the field work. And and then we have some new results after data analysis, and for this to be an adaptive process, we start to circle again and again. So why is an adaptive process with the stakeholders involvement advantage here? For us, it's very convenient because, first of all, we have a lot of dynamic factors involved here. One of these goose populations are increasing at very steep rates. We know they are influenced by climate change. An early spring in Svalbard would produce much more young, more pairs are able to nest. And as we have human interactions, in many ways, an involvement of the stakeholder is very useful. And also, the interactions are quite complex, so we find it useful also with a holistic and interdisciplinary approach. So we then got this good combination with the stakeholders. We got a common understanding of the problem. What is the problem? Is it a problem for some, not a problem for others? But in many ways, you got this common acceptance for the solutions of the whole thing. But it should also be said that it's very labor demanding, and we realize that more and more, and we should remember that when you write new applications, include that also in your budget. It's a lot of coffee drinking, it's a lot of meetings, emails, SMS actually. But it really facilitates the link between the research and management. So we have this issue from knowledge to action. There's really an issue here. And for the manager, if they would like to have a knowledge-based management and conservation, this is a very nice framework to use. And as I said, this involvement, you have this joint responsibility and participation in a very constructive process. You got a sense of community, and most of all, it's a very stimulating process for all of us, because we're really getting steps forward when we discuss openly. So in our project, we have very good an experience of putting a significant effort into both the discussions with farmers, landowners, share for some, it's at all levels. Just meet them out at the farm. Here's at the goose catch. He's a very important informant. He's from a meeting at the municipality level. So all these informal as well as more formal gatherings is very useful for us. So just a few results. This is the MIGRAPOP project. It's a project that is focused on a spring condition where the geese are on their way to the breeding grounds, and they stage here in Norway. This is a picture from the northern parts. We have in Norway a subsidy scheme established for the spring staging geese, and it's the Arctic geese. It's only the geese that are breeding in Svalbard. This is an example of a previous project we had where we developed a model, a goose distribution model. And it's so all the different A, B's and C's here is they are categorized. The A sites are the sites with the highest probability to have geese. And today, when we had a subsidy scheme, the local county governor actually used this model to distribute the money following this model. But subsidy, as you know, in this sense is limited, and there's not all the farmers can attend here, and so there's still farmers that are chasing their geese off their properties. So this subsidy scheme, in combination with the scaring, it creates a mosaic of refuges of sites subject to scaring. So we have in this, I'll just go brief through it here. In this project, we will look how will this regional management schemes will affect the number of geese here, and what's the area's carrying capacity, and what are the economic costs. So here we combine these goose distribution models with resource depletion models. I don't go into detail, but it's a cost element in it here. And we would like also to predict the consequences of management on goose migratory behavior. That's where we follow the individual marked geese. And also evaluate the political and administrative feasibility of setting up such a framework for this adaptive management. So we do the fieldwork. Our social scientists, they do a lot of interviews with different stakeholders to document different communications. We do the biological fieldwork, we do the goose registration, site-specific counts, measuring rings. We measure plant growth at a range of different plots in the area. We have, as you saw this picture, we have plots excluding goose grazing, and we're also mapping the scaring intensity by farmers, because we know that the scaring activity is a very significant element for the geese. They know where they are scared, and they would definitely influence where they're able to land. So we get that information both from interviews with the farmers. Some are actually quite proud of how clever they are to scare the geese off the fields. We have some forms they have filled in, and last spring, we also did this experimental scaring where one of our PhD students were actually doing the scaring herself to get all this detailed information that we need to fuel into our models. And this is just a quick, brief result. This from we put up the exposures in early. It looked like quite Arctic here. Yes, this is in April. And this is just the total dry mass of the first yield. So these are the fields where the geese have been grazing. And these are the ungrazed fields. So there is a significant reduction. But also, if you combine the first and should be the second behind here, there's still a difference here. And this is could be 8 weeks after the geese have left the area. So these are significant results. So in many ways they support what the farmers claim themselves. So they like these kind of results. But we also see there are big variances between the different fields, which also reflects the farmer's own experience. And this is also another thing. These are from 3 different sites, and the black here is where the geese have been feeding. And what we see here, this is an index of biodiversity. And what we found is that where the geese have been feeding, there's a higher biodiversity. That means we have a higher number of weed. So this is only after 1 season of goose grazing. So more weed where the geese have been grazing. And in total percentage, there are no differences yet. But we will follow these plots for several years. So the reason why we look at this is that the farmers claim, it comes from the interviews we do, that one is the harvest, the loss of harvest in the current year, but intensive goose grazing for several years could also influence, because they are quite selective. They choose the timothy, and they have to rezone and replow the fields more often. So these results then suggest that the farmers have absolutely right in that sense. So a few words about our other project in autumn, as 5 minutes, yes, that's okay, where we look at the hunting situation in the autumn. The pink-footed goose population has a steep increase, and the local or the Norwegian authority, they really appeal for an increased hunting activity here. So we're focusing on hunting here, and as our PhD student said, in many ways, the slogan of this project is the hunt for an optimal hunting practice. This is from central Norway, where they stop in the autumn. And the presence of the stay in this area, it will depend on the resource availability, which is they feed on grain, on stubble fields here. The snow cover, they won't be much longer if the snow is more than 10 centimeters or so for extended periods. And also related disturbance, which in this case is practically hunting. So here we have these small grains. I don't know if you can see, but that's really a significant resource for them. So they stop here and can be here for several weeks before they migrate further to Denmark. So we measure this resource availability just very quick here. This is just the average grain density per square meter. And this is from a range of sites in September, and we can see in October they have definitely depleted. But at the site further south in Denmark, this relation will look like this. There will be no grain at all before they depart. So that suggests that probably the hunting is too intensive, so they actually scare the geese off. So the key issue here is to make the geese to stay longer. And we can see there's a large potential to increase the harvest of geese here, but you should find this optimal level of hunting intensity. And one way to do that, we have models that we look at hunting activity and practice and relate that to the goose behavior. And for 2 seasons now, we have actually we have carried out an experimental hunting at this site here in central Norway, where we are altering. We have hunting here, is a refuge here, hunting there, refuge. So always the geese have some refuges where there's not hunted. So and the geese, they respond immediately. We have a rather low hunting pressure here, and there are more geese, and the bag statistics increase correspondingly. Right. So just a last slide to see. We know there are conflicts between geese and agricultural interests also in Iceland. And we know there are many corresponding situations here. And we see a large potential to further exchange our experience and expertise. And there are some links already. I know the biologist here, and my colleague, the social scientist Einar Eitorsson, who's originally from Iceland but has been living in Norway for quite some time. You also have some links to other institutions here. So we see a large potential for common projects also at the interdisciplinary level, which is not, as far as we know, existing here, where we combine the ecologists, agriculture expertise and social scientists. But what then is said, it should also be initiate new project. We need also kind of funding, at least to start. But it has to be said in this relation. But also, Nina, we're not supervising formally students, but we have a lot of students, and it could be for us to have a student here would be no problem, but we need a kind of formal supervisor then. So we're very open for future cooperation here. Thank you.